What's going on, sheepdogs? Suresh here, 221B Tactical. Just want to let everyone know before you watch this upcoming video that the weapon you see being used in the video has been triple checked, clear, and safe with no ammunition at all, even near the filming location. Additionally, the magazines used also completely clear. Remember, safety first. Enjoy the video.
Okay, so a lot of you guys were asking about my trip to go train with Navy SEAL Rich Graham. Full Spectrum Warrior is his company, his Instagram handle. You could check out his training on his website as well. But some of you were seeing what we were posting on social media and asking, what did you learn? How was the training? And yes, training with a Navy SEAL is spectacular because you learn so much. I learned something every time I go down to train with him. I've trained with Rich and his team multiple times. I learn more in a week with Rich than I learned probably in my 13 years as a police officer, and I was a certified firearms instructor. That being said, someone asked on social media, well, what's one of the things you learned? Actually, quite a few people asked, what did you learn? But someone asked in particular. So I wanted to give a quick snippet. I'm going to do a more in-depth video for our Sheepdog Nexus members. We'll get into that later. But I want to do a quick snippet of what was one of the drills. So one of the drills was something that, a scenario that I really didn't think about until Rich started talking about it. Now, I want to let you know, guys, full disclosure, that there's a lot that goes into this drill that I'm about to show you that, well, it's really not a drill. I'm demoing the purpose behind why we did this drill. So let me explain the drill, let me explain the premise behind it, and then I'm going to quickly demo the final phase of the drill. So what it was simple. You go, either you're on patrol or you're a civilian. Dressed here in t-shirt, sandals, and bathing suit. And you're either at an amusement park, you're maybe at a movie theater, maybe you're at Walmart, who knows? You're at the water park, doesn't matter. Or you're a police officer, you're on patrol, and you enter into a situation where maybe it's a school or a park, and the premise is there's an active shooter. So now you have to engage the shooter, engage the bad guy. First and foremost, if you're with your friends or your family, you make sure that they're in a safe position. You make sure that they're getting to safety, of course, calling 911, what have you. We hope that the police department, wherever you are, isn't defunded and they have officers that can respond. That aside. So you're going to have in those situations, if you say, okay, my family is safe now, or if you're a police officer, you and your partner are going in because obviously you're not with your family, you're on duty, you're in uniform, and maybe you're by yourself, or maybe you're with your partner, and you're going in, what you're most likely going to have, which is what I never trained for in my 13 years, but Rich was showing us, was that you're going to have people that are running at you. You're going to have bodies in front of you that are not bad guys, they're good guys. And you're going to have either them standing there screaming, yelling, or running at you, and as they run at you, they may grab at you, they may bump you, they may do a series of things. So there was a lot of drills that we did to build up to this final drill. So I'm not going to get into that, but I said I'd explain one thing, the culmination of it. So the premise of the drill, or the setting of the drill, was there was 3 dummies, almost in like bowling pin. There was one dummy, and then behind that dummy were 2 dummies spread out, maybe about 6 feet apart, and then there was one dummy in the center, but that was closest to me. And behind the dummy were a series of steel targets that were the bad guys. And what we did was we had to draw our weapon and now engage the bad guy targets that were called out to us during that drill, so whether it was a color or a number, but we had to engage these targets while being cognizant of the good people that were standing in front of us, which were the dummies. And of course, these dummies for this drill were stationary, rubber, shooting dummies, but they were still there and in the way, and your eye would go to them. So there was 3 of them. So there was one dead center, and then to the left there was one a little bit set back, and to the right there was one. And they were off limits. They were good people. they were good people running at you. So when you had to draw your weapon and engage the bad guy that Rich would call out, you would engage and then he would call out another one. And at some point you have to now come across the series of good people, the civilians, the innocent civilians, and re-engage a target. I intuitively, having never done anything like this in my training, I intuitively thought that I was being cognizant of those people and not flagging them or lasering them or whatever you want to call it, whatever the term you use is, and I was just now going past them safely, re-engaging. It wasn't until after I watched the video of me doing the drill that I realized that I was not doing any of that. I was lasering people, finger on the trigger, and when you're in the drill, which we did something to get our heart rate up, he intentionally got our heart rate up, and we were in the drill, your heart rate's up, and you're drawing your weapon, and now you're seeing the good guys, and you're trying to figure out, you're trying to listen to see which bad guy you got to shoot, and then as he's changing the bad guys that are different positions behind the good guys, you don't realize that you're moving so fast with your elevated heart rate that you're flagging people, your fingers on the trigger. So the premise of the drill was to be cognizant of the good guys, because this is a very real scenario where you could have good people in front of you, either running at you, stationary, screaming, and you have to engage multiple bad guys behind them to take out the bad guys. So how are you going to do it? So it was a lot of build-up. There was a lot of build-up drills and, just dummy gun drills, and then we got to this final one. Got the heart rate up, we were pulling sleds and dragging weights and doing all the crazy stuff, and then you get to where you're going, and then you say, okay, so in this scenario, I am a civilian, I got t-shirt, flip-flops, board shorts on, and someone says, he's got a gun, and someone starts shooting, and people are screaming, running at you or in front of you. So the first thing, obviously, if you're with your family, get them safe, and now I'm going to say, I got my weapon on me, I'm going to engage these bad guys. So good guys in front of me, I'm going to engage. So my heart rate's elevated, I'm going to now take my weapon out, I'm going to engage the bad guys. Okay, so now, once I engage one bad guy, he's calling out another bad guy. So how do I get that other bad guy? So now I am bringing my weapon up over, clearing their head, and I'm taking my finger off the trigger. I'm taking my finger off the trigger, over, and then I'm coming back down to re-engage second bad guy, and as I come down and get on target with my sights, I'm bringing my finger back on the trigger. I'm going to pull the shot, drop that bad guy, another bad guy. Once again, I got to make sure if I'm clearing multiple good guys, finger off the trigger, coming up and over, making sure I'm clearing everyone, coming back down, finger back on the trigger, pull the shot, take out that bad guy. So it was elevated heart rate and going back and forth. When I did the drill, I didn't realize, I thought I was doing this, whatever, but I was keeping my finger on the trigger and I was like this. Getting bad guy, where's the next bad guy? Here. And I was sweeping all the good people. So it was really just a mental acuity drill where you're saying, okay, I got to make sure that as I come over, I'm clearing all the good people, my finger's off the trigger, I'm coming back down, and I'm getting my finger back on the trigger, and I'm pulling that shot. And of course, when you come up, you're always doing your target acquisition, coming back down, pulling the shot. In the event that you need to reload, you're just, once again, coming back into where you work, into your workspace here. You're coming back into your workspace, and you are going to just drop that, index this in, back on the target. Back on target, where's the next bad guy? Coming up, finger off the trigger, coming back down, reacquire, pull the shot, drop that bad guy, and that's it. So that was the premise of this drill, to get yourself comfortable around how you are using your weapon in the event that you have a group of people in front of you running and screaming. Something I never really thought about, but the reality is, that if you're in a public place and someone pulls out a gun and starts shooting people, whether it's school, movie theater, doesn't matter, amusement park, the beach, someone or multiple people are going to be running away from the shooter. And if you're there, you're responsibly armed, whether off-duty civilian carrying or you are a police officer, you're going to have people running at you. So great drill, great training. Once again, let me reiterate this. I am not a trainer of this level. I am explaining a drill that I just learned from someone who is super high level, Rich Graham, Navy SEAL. So I am not in any way trying to teach anyone watching this video about this. A question was asked of me, what's one of the things you learned? This is one of the things I learned, and I'm just letting you know what I learned. I don't want the keyboard warriors, of course, saying, you know, this was wrong, this was wrong. I may not have been perfect in explaining it, but this was just a sample. Once again, there was hours and hours of buildup till we finally did this drill, live fire with non-dummy guns and live ammunition. Hours of buildup before we did it. And then once we did it, of course, there was the follow-up of what the training points were, what we did right, what we did wrong. So if you're interested in this kind of training, go ahead and go to Full Spectrum Warrior's website. You could reach him on IG. You can go to his website. I believe it's Full Spectrum Warrior US or fullspectrumwarrior.us. I'll put the link down here below. But what I liked about Rich, and you know, a lot of people are very enamored, if you would, when they hear or they see Navy SEAL. A lot of great guys out there, a lot of high speed, highly trained tier 1 guys, Navy SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets. But what I like about Rich is that he gives you the why behind what you are doing. He explains everything very clearly, very concisely, and most important, he's not just telling you what to do and saying do it. He gives you what to do, and then he says, this is why you want to do this. This is why this is important. And it really changes the way you go through the drills, and it changes how your mindset is during the drill, because you have a deeper understanding of what it is you're doing when you have a better understanding of why you're doing it. So just a tidbit about training with Rich. If you want to, learn more about his training, he has his online training. Of course, I recommend the online training, but nothing beats actually going to his private facility and spending the time with him. It's an incredible facility. And you're going to walk away, whether you spend 2 days there, 3 days there, 4 days there, you're going to walk away from there with knowledge that you're going to learn things that you didn't even know you didn't know. So, or that you didn't know that you needed to know. I highly recommend you guys checking out Full Spectrum Warrior. One of many people I train with, and I have vetted a lot of people over the years to see who I want to train with, and I'm blessed to be able to train with guys like Rich Graham and many of his counterparts as well. He has a great team there. So just to give you guys a little explanation of what I learned down there, what you asked for. Once again, you want to know all about the build up to this drill, and you want to know all about the premise of this drill, you go ahead and reach out to Rich, and he'll give you the explanation, and he can give you the information, or one of his team members will give you the information on how to sign up for Full Spectrum Warrior. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Hope you learned something. We're going to actually expand on this a little bit more in the Sheepdog Nexus. Once again, the Sheepdog Nexus is our private group, our private network, where we are sharing training content, gear reviews, interviews, podcasts, and other things that are disappearing from other platforms, mysteriously disappearing from other platforms. So that's the whole premise of the Sheepdog Nexus. It's a training library where you have access 24/7 to access that information. You can network with all the other Sheepdog Nexus members, no matter where you are, whether you're here in the United States or you are abroad. So, for example, if you are taking a trip abroad with your family, and you are taking a trip to another state even, and you don't know the lay of the land, you've never been there before, you could reach out to a Sheepdog Nexus member who lives there locally and reach out and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be in this town, or I'm going to be in your country, in this city in your country. I'm I'm one of the Nexus members. I want to know what's the lay of the land, what are maybe some areas I should stay away, bring in my family, stay away from, what are some of the things that I should focus on, routes to travel, times of days to go, not go. So you can network with the members around the world that are also sharing their information locally of what they know. In the future, you'll be able to share training information that you acquire through the people that you train with, that you feel is valuable and relevant. You can add that to the Nexus and have that searchable for other people, other members to search as well. So you can bring in and provide content as well. So more information about that on our private Facebook group, the Sheepdog group. So you can check that out on our Facebook page. And of course, email us at sales@221btactical.com 24/7 around the clock. We have teams on both coasts to answer your questions around the clock. So if you have gear questions or if you have questions more so along where some of the training content is coming from, email our team, sales@221btactical.com, and they will answer all your questions. And of course, if you want to check out some of the gear that we use down in Florida training with Full Spectrum Warrior, and some of the gear that I use training with the other top tier people across the nation, you can check out 221btactical.com. Thanks for watching this video. Once again, just to reiterate one more time, this is not a training video. This was just a demo of something that I learned during training. Go to the man himself if you want the actual training. I highly recommend it. Or find someone competent in the training and go train. You can't train enough for a job that can kill you if you are law enforcement or a first responder. And if you are a responsible civilian, a husband, a father, a wife, a mother, it doesn't matter, a son, a daughter, and you want to be able to properly and adequately be an asset and not a liability and protect your family and those you love during these crazy times, get some training under your belt. You will never, ever regret it. As always, watch their hands, watch your six, and get home safe. We'll see you next time.